Political Science Class 11th. Chapter 1, Constitution, Why and How. 150 medium hard multiple choice questions with answers. Q1. What is the primary and most basic function of a constitution? A. To enforce economic equality. B. To provide a set of basic rules for minimal coordination among members of a society. C. To establish a uniform culture. D. To dictate the foreign policy of the nation. Answer. B. Q2. Why are the basic rules of a society required to be legally enforceable? A. To ensure citizens can protest against them. B. To make them optional for minority groups. C. To give citizens the assurance that others will follow them. D. To increase the revenue of the state. Answer. C. Q3. In the context of the Constitution, what happens if rules are known but not legally enforceable? A. People will follow them strictly out of moral duty. B. Citizens will have no assurance that others will follow them. C. The society will immediately dissolve. D. The judiciary will create its own laws. Answer. B. Q4. Which of the following best describes the kind of coordination a constitution provides? A. Absolute and rigid coordination. B. Minimal and necessary coordination. C. Temporary and optional coordination. D. Religious and spiritual coordination. Answer. B. Q5. A constitution is often referred to as the fundamental law of a country because A. It is the only law in the country. B. It dictates all criminal procedures. C. All other laws and government actions must conform to it. D. It cannot be amended under any circumstances. Answer. C. Q6. How does a constitution help in a highly diverse society? A. By assimilating all diversities into one. B. By creating distinct sovereign states for each group. C. By providing a basic framework of rules agreed upon by all. D. By eliminating all disputes instantly. Answer. C. Q7. What would likely happen in a diverse society without a constitution? A. Perfect harmony due to natural law. B. Continuous disputes over property, rights, and security. C. Economic prosperity due to lack of regulation. D. The dominance of the smallest minority. Answer. B. Q8. The assurance provided by the Constitution primarily relies on A. The military strength of the state. B. The legal enforceability of its rules. C. The personal goodness of the leaders. D. The economic incentives given to citizens. Answer. B. Q9. According to the text, a constitution provides a set of basic rules that allow for minimal coordination. What does minimal imply here? A. The rules are inadequate. B. The rules cover only the essential aspects needed to live together. C. The rules apply only to minorities. D. The rules are meant to be broken. Answer. B. Q10. Assertion A. A constitution is needed to provide assurance in a society. Reason R. Members of a society are mutually dependent and need cooperation. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. A is false but R is true. Answer. A. Q11. The second function of a constitution is to specify A. The exact punishment for crimes. B. Who has the power to make decisions in a society. C. The detailed economic policies of the state. D. The cultural norms of the majority. Answer. B. Q12. In a monarchical constitution, who decides the laws? A. The parliament. B. The judiciary. C. The monarch. D. The people directly. Answer. C. Q13. In the Soviet Union's former constitution, who was given the power to decide laws? A multi-party parliament. B. The military generals. C. A single party, communist party. D. The religious leaders. Answer. C. Q14. In democratic constitutions, broadly speaking, who gets to decide the laws? A. The wealthiest citizens. B. The people or their representatives. C. The civil servants. D. The judiciary. Answer. B. Q15. If Parliament has the authority to enact laws, who gives Parliament this authority? A. The President. B. The Prime Minister. C. The Constitution. D. The judiciary. Answer. C. Q16. Which function of the Constitution decides how the government will be constituted? A. First function. B. Second function. C. Third function. D. Fourth function. Answer. B. Q17. Why does the Constitution need to allocate decision-making power? A. To create confusion. B. Because society will otherwise debate endlessly on how to make decisions. C. To suppress the fundamental rights of people. D. To give absolute power to the judiciary. Answer. B. Q18. Assertion A. The Constitution constitutes the government. Reason R. It specifies the fundamental allocation of power in society. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. A is false but R is true. Answer. A. Q19. In the Indian Constitution, the primary power to legislate is vested in A. The Supreme Court. B. The Parliament. C. The President. D. The Prime Minister's office. Answer. B. Q20. Which of the following questions is answered by the second function of a constitution? A. What should the law be? B. How should citizens behave at home? C. Who gets to decide what the law will be? D. What are the limits on the government? Answer. C. Q21. What is the third function of a constitution? A. To set limits on what a government can impose on its citizens. B. To ensure the government has absolute power. C. To collect taxes from citizens. D. To promote a specific religion. Answer. A. Q22. The limits set by a constitution on the government are fundamental in the sense that A. They can be easily changed by normal laws. B. The government may never trespass them. C. They apply only to the state governments. D. They are merely suggestions. Answer. B. Q23. What is the most common way constitutions limit the power of the government? A. By eliminating the police force. B. By guaranteeing certain fundamental rights to citizens. C. By holding daily elections. D. By allowing the judiciary to run the administration. Answer. B. Q24. Which of the following is an example of a fundamental limitation on government power? A. The government cannot arrest a citizen arbitrarily. B. The government cannot build highways. C. The government cannot form a cabinet. D. The government cannot interact with foreign nations. Answer. A. Q25. Under normally functioning constitutions, citizens are protected from being discriminated against on grounds of A. Skill and competence. B. Religion, race, and caste. C. Age and experience. D. Wealth and property. Answer. B. Q26. Are the fundamental rights guaranteed by a constitution absolute in all circumstances? A. Yes, they can never be restricted. B. No, they can be limited during times of national emergency. C. Yes, except for the right to property. D. No, the government can abolish them anytime. Answer. B. Q27. If a government enacts a law prohibiting a specific religion, which function of the Constitution does it violate? A. First function, coordination. B. Second function, allocation of power. C. Third function, limitations on government. D. Fourth function, aspirations. Answer. C. Q28. Assertion A. A constitution limits the power of the government. Reason R. Without limits, the government might pass unjust laws like prohibiting certain beliefs. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. A is false but R is true. Answer. A. Q29. Which branch of government is typically responsible for ensuring that the legislature does not cross its constitutional limits? A. The executive. B. The military. C. The judiciary. D. The election commission. Answer. C. Q30. The concept that government is not all-powerful is deeply rooted in which function of the Constitution? A. Specifying decision makers. B. Providing a basic identity. C. Limiting government power. D. Fulfilling societal aspirations. Answer. C. Q31. Older constitutions typically limited themselves to A. Enabling the government to achieve equality. B. Allocating decision-making power and limiting government power. C. Providing welfare schemes. D. Protecting the environment. Answer. B. Q32. What is the fourth function of a constitution? A. To limit the fundamental rights. B. To enable the government to fulfill the aspirations of a society. C. To dissolve the state during crises. D. To merge the executive and judiciary. Answer. B. Q33. Societies with deep-rooted inequalities require a constitution that A. Maintains the status quo. B. Limits the government from intervening. C. Empowers the government to take positive measures to overcome inequalities. D. Abolishes the government completely. Answer. C. Q34. Which country's constitution is cited as a classic example of an enabling framework designed to end racial discrimination? A. United States. B. United Kingdom. C. South Africa. D. Japan. Answer. C. Q35. In the Indian Constitution, the enabling provisions meant to fulfill societal aspirations are primarily found in A. The preamble only. B. Fundamental rights. C. Directive principles of state policy. D. The schedules. Answer. C. Q36. The framers of the Indian Constitution believed that society should be free from A. Caste discrimination. B. Technological advancement. C. International trade. D. Scientific research. Answer. A. Q37. According to the South African Constitution, the government is explicitly empowered to promote A single state religion. B. Conservation of nature and equitable access to housing. C. Expansion of military across borders. D. Abolition of all political parties. Answer. B. Q38. The Indonesian Constitution explicitly mandates the government to A. Provide free housing to all. B. Establish and conduct a national education system. C. Eliminate all private property. D. Subsidize all religious institutions. Answer. B. Q39. Assertion A. Modern constitutions are not mere limiters of power. Reason R. They provide an enabling framework for the government to achieve a just society. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. A is false but R is true. Answer. A. Q40. Which of the following functions of the Indian Constitution requires the state to promote the welfare of the people? A. Limiting government trespass. B. Setting fundamental rules for coordination. C. Fulfilling aspirations and goals. D. Defining citizenship procedures. Answer. C. Q41. By agreeing to a basic set of norms about how one should be governed, a people constitutes its A. Economic identity. B. Political identity. C. Historical identity. D. Linguistic identity. Answer. B. Q42. Before the existence of a constitution, people generally have A. No identity whatsoever. B. A singular unified political identity. C. Many different identities based on region, religion, and so on. D. A rigid legal identity. Answer. C. Q43. The Constitution sets absolute bounds on what one may or may not do, thereby creating A. Moral identity. B. Technological identity. C. Geographical identity. D. Professional identity. Answer. A. Q44. Which of the following is not a type of identity fostered by a constitution? A. Political identity. B. Moral identity. C. National identity. D. Genetic identity. Answer. D. Q45. How did the German identity historically define citizenship? A. Based on political allegiance alone. B. Based on ethnic or racial identity. C. Based on wealth and property. D. Based on educational qualifications. Answer. B. Q46. The Indian Constitution defines citizenship primarily on A. Ethnic identity. B. Racial lineage. C. A civic concept cutting across communities. D. Religious affiliation. Answer. C. Q47. Different nations embody different conceptions of A. The relationship between the state and the universe. B. The relationship between the central government and the regions. C. The absolute laws of physics. D. The elimination of all basic rights. Answer B. Q48. A constitution expresses the fundamental identity of a people because A. It dictates their daily dietary habits. B. It represents an overarching framework resolving diverse regional and personal identities. C. It merges all citizens into a single profession. D. It abolishes all regional languages. Answer B. Q49. Assertion A. The Indian Constitution does not make ethnic identity a criterion for citizenship. Reason R. The Indian Constitution embraces a civic concept of national identity. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. A is false but R is true. Answer A. Q50. Constitutions differ in how they manage the relationship between different regions of a nation. This structural relationship constitutes the nations. A. Moral identity. B. National identity. C. Economic identity. D. Religious identity. Answer B. Q51. What does the promulgation of a constitution refer to? A. The physical printing of the document. B. How the constitution came into being and who crafted it. C. The translation of the constitution. D. The amendments made to the constitution. Answer B. Q52. Why do many constitutions around the world exist only on paper? A. Because paper is cheap. B. Because they are crafted by military dictators or unrepresentative leaders. C. Because they are too long to read. D. Because they grant too many rights. Answer B. Q53. Which of the following countries has a constitution that is considered highly successful due to its popular origins? A. South Africa. B. Myanmar, historical context. C. Chile, under Pinochet. D. Libya. Answer A. Q54. Successful constitutions like those of India, South Africa, and the USA were created in the aftermath of A. Military coups. B. Economic depressions. C. Popular national movements. D. Natural disasters. Answer C. Q55. Was the Indian Constitution subjected to a formal national referendum? A. Yes, in 1950. B. Yes, in 1947. C. No. It was never subjected to a referendum. D. No. Only the elites voted on it. Answer C. Q56. Despite the lack of a referendum, the Indian Constitution enjoyed immense public authority because A. It was enforced by the British military. B. It had the consensus and backing of highly popular leaders of the national movement. C. It eliminated all taxes. D. It threatened citizens with exile if they disobeyed. Answer B. Q57. A. Referendum is best described as A legislative debate. B. A direct vote by all eligible citizens on a specific issue. C. A judicial review process. D. An executive order by the president. Answer B. Q58. The hallmark of a successful constitution is that it A. Allows a single leader to rule forever. B. Systematically privileges the majority. C. Gives everyone in society some reason to go along with its provisions. D. Suppresses minor communities entirely. Answer C. Q59. If a constitution systematically privileges some members at the expense of others, what is the likely outcome? A. It will be perfectly stable. B. The marginalized groups will have no reason to respect the constitution. C. The international community will praise it. D. It will lead to rapid economic growth. Answer B. Q60. Which of the following makes a constitution legitimate in the eyes of the people? A. Its complexity and length. B. The ability to convince people that it does not serve only the elites. C. Its drafting by a foreign power. D. Its secrecy during the drafting process. Answer B. Q61. A constitution is more likely to succeed if it A. Preserves the wealth of the rich only. B. Concentrates power in the hands of the executive. C. Preserves the freedom and equality of all its members. D. Allows the military to dictate terms. Answer. C. Q62. The principle of balanced institutional design ensures that A. One institution cannot easily subvert the entire constitution. B. The legislature has absolute power over the judiciary. C. The executive is entirely independent of the constitution. D. Institutions are merged into a single body. Answer. A. Q63. How does the Indian constitution structurally prevent authoritarianism? A. By giving all power to the president. B. By fragmenting power across different institutions like the legislature, executive, and judiciary. C. By banning all political parties. D. By restricting voting rights. Answer. B. Q64. Which of the following is an independent statutory body established by the Indian Constitution? A. The Niti Aayog. B. The Election Commission. C. The National Development Council. D. The Prime Minister's Office. Answer. B. Q65. What is the danger of a constitution being too rigid? A. It will be adapted too quickly. B. It is likely to break under the weight of changing circumstances. C. It will cause economic inflation. D. It will lead to daily constitutional amendments. Answer. B. Q66. What is the danger of a constitution being too flexible? A. It will provide no security, predictability, or identity to a society. B. It will become impossible to amend. C. It will require judicial review for every law. D. It will immediately dissolve the state. Answer. A. Q67. The Indian Constitution is often described as a living document because A. It has an expiration date. B. It balances the need for stability with the flexibility to adapt to changes. C. It changes itself automatically every year. D. It was drafted by living entities. Answer. B. Q68. Assertion A. Intelligent institutional design distributes power horizontally. Reason R. This ensures that if one institution tries to subvert the constitution, others can check its transgressions. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. A is false but R is true. Answer. A. Q69. Which term best describes the system where different branches of government monitor and limit each other? A. Absolute monarchy. B. Checks and balances. C. Unitary command. D. Dictatorial oversight. Answer. B. Q70. To ensure a successful constitution, its substantive provisions must appeal to A. The military alone. B. The majority religion exclusively. C. The broad mass of society. D. The international community only. Answer. C. Q71. Who drafted the Constitution of India? A. The British Parliament. B. The Constituent Assembly. C. The Indian National Congress independently. D. The Supreme Court of India. Answer. B. Q72. When did the Constituent Assembly of Undivided India hold its first sitting? A. The 15th of August 1947. B. The 9th of December 1946. C. The 26th of November 1949. D. The 26th of January 1950. Answer. B. Q73. The members of the Constituent Assembly were chosen by A. Direct election by universal adult franchise. B. Indirect election by the members of the provincial legislative assemblies. C. Nomination by the British King. D. Selection by the Indian National Congress only. Answer. B. Q74. The provincial legislative assemblies that elected the Constituent Assembly members were established under which Act? A. Government of India Act 1919. B. Indian Independence Act 1947. C. Government of India Act 1935. D. Charter Act 1853. Answer. C. Q75. The composition of the Constituent Assembly was determined by a plan proposed by A. The Cripps Mission. B. The Cabinet Mission. C. The Mountbatten Plan. D. The Simon Commission. Answer. B. Q76. Under the Cabinet Mission Plan, what was the approximate ratio of seats allocated to provinces and princely states based on their population? A. 1 seat per 10,000 population. B. 1 seat per 100,000 population. C. 1 seat per 1 million population. D. 1 seat per 10 million population. Answer. C. Q77. How many seats were originally allotted to the British Indian provinces in the Constituent Assembly? A. 292. B. 93. C. 389. D. 299. Answer. A. Q78. How many seats were originally allotted to the princely states? A. 292. B. 93. C. 299. D. 389. Answer. B. Q79. Under the Cabinet Mission Plan, seats in each province were distributed among which three main communities? A. Hindus, Muslims, and Christians. B. Muslims, Sikhs, and General. C. General, Scheduled Castes, and Scheduled Tribes. D. Hindus, Sikhs, and Parsis. Answer. B. Q80. What voting method was used by the members of each community in the Provincial Legislative Assembly to elect their representatives? A. First past the post. B. Proportional representation with single transferable vote. C. Direct democratic vote. D. Random lottery. Answer. B. Q81. When did the Constituent Assembly reassemble for divided India after the partition plan? A. The 14th of August 1947. B. The 15th of August 1947. C. The 3rd of June 1947. D. The 26th of November 1949. Answer. A. Q82. What was the total membership of the Constituent Assembly after the partition of India? A. 389. B. 299. C. 284. D. 315. Answer. B. Q83. How many members were actually present on the 26th of November 1949 to append their signature to the finalized constitution? A. 299. B. 284. C. 389. D. 292. Answer. B. Q84. On which date was the Constitution of India formally adopted? A. The 15th of August 1947. B. The 26th of November 1949. C. The 26th of January 1950. D. The 9th of December 1946. Answer. B. Q85. On which date did the Constitution of India come into force? A. The 26th of November 1949. B. The 15th of August 1947. C. The 26th of January 1950. D. The 2nd of October 1950. Answer. C. Q86. Which of the following is true about the composition of the Constituent Assembly? A. It was elected by universal adult suffrage. B. It had no representatives from the princely states. C. It was dominated by the Congress Party, which held 82% of the seats post-partition. D. It entirely excluded minority communities. Answer. C. Q87. Despite being dominated by the Congress, the Constituent Assembly was considered diverse because A. Congress itself was a broad-based party accommodating diverse ideological shades. B. The British forced them to include diverse members. C. Only non-Congress members were allowed to speak. D. Congress members frequently resigned to allow others to join. Answer. A. Q88. How many members in the Constituent Assembly represented the scheduled castes? A. 10. B. 28. C. 50. D. 82. Answer. B. Q89. Assertion A. The Constituent Assembly was not a perfectly representative body. Reason R. Its members were not elected by universal adult franchise. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. A is false but R is true. Answer. A. Q90. Which of the following groups were represented in the Constituent Assembly? A. Only Hindus. B. Only Hindus and Muslims. C. Practically all religious and social groups of India. D. Only elites and zamindars. Answer C. Q91. The authority of the Constituent Assembly comes heavily from its A. Military backing. B. Procedures and open deliberations. C. Ability to suppress dissent. D. Speed of drafting. Answer B. Q92. In the Constituent Assembly, members were expected to A. Act solely as representatives of their specific communities. B. Engage in public reason and act for the entire nation. C. Remain silent and vote as instructed by the British. D. Focus only on regional interests. Answer B. Q93. What does public reason refer to in the context of the Constituent Assembly? A. Providing principled reasons for one's position that can be understood and accepted by others. B. Speaking loudly in public spaces. C. Appealing to public emotions and anger. D. Publishing articles in local newspapers. Answer A. Q94. Almost every provision of the Indian Constitution was heavily debated. Which of the following was the only major provision passed without virtually any debate? A. Fundamental rights. B. Directive principles. C. Universal adult franchise. D. Emergency powers. Answer C. Q95. What is universal adult franchise? A. Only educated adults can vote. B. Only tax-paying adults can vote. C. All adult citizens have the right to vote irrespective of religion, caste, education, or gender. D. Only adults above 25 can vote. Answer C. Q96. Why was the clause-by-clause debate in the Constituent Assembly considered a tribute to public reason? A. Because it relied on brute majority to pass laws. B. Because members convinced each other using logical arguments and national interest. C. Because it was conducted entirely in English. D. Because it allowed the British to retain control. Answer B. Q97. The voluminous debates in the Constituent Assembly are often compared in significance to which historical counterparts? A. The French and American constitutional debates. B. The Magna Carta signing. C. The debates of the Roman Senate. D. The Russian Revolution speeches. Answer A. Q98. Assertion A. The members of the Assembly always agreed on every issue smoothly. Reason R. They shared a common background. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. Both A and R are false. Answer D. Q99. Which of the following was a major point of disagreement during the Assembly debates? A. Whether India should be independent. B. Whether to adopt universal adult franchise. C. The balance of power between the center and the states. D. Whether to have a constitution at all. Answer C. Q100. The commitment to rigorous debate in the Assembly reflects which democratic ideal? A. Authoritarianism. B. Transparency and rational deliberation. C. Oligarchy. D. Majoritarianism. Answer B. Q101. How many major committees did the Constituent Assembly have to draft different subjects? A. 5. B. 8. C. 12. D. 15. Answer B. Q102. Who among the following was not a frequent chairman of the major committees? A. Jawaharlal Nehru. B. Rajendra Prasad. C. Mahatma Gandhi. D. B.R. Ambedkar. Answer C. Q103. Who was the chairman of the drafting committee? A. Jawaharlal Nehru. B. Sardar Patel. C. B.R. Ambedkar. D. Rajendra Prasad. Answer C. Q104. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's relationship with the Indian National Congress can be described as A. He was a founding member. B. He was completely politically aligned with them. C. He was a bitter critic who accused them of not doing enough for the scheduled castes. D. He was the official spokesperson of the Congress. Answer C. Q105. Despite their intense ideological differences, leaders like Nehru, Patel, and Ambedkar worked together. This demonstrates the Assembly's A. Hypocrisy. B. Lack of clear vision. C. Commitment to consensus and national interest. D. Inability to form a government. Answer C. Q 106. Who moved the objective resolution in the Constituent Assembly? A. B.R. Ambedkar. B. Sardar Patel. C. Jawaharlal Nehru. D. Rajendra Prasad. Answer. C. Q 107. In which year was the objective resolution moved? A. 1945. B. 1946. C. 1947. D. 1948. Answer. B. Q 108. What was the purpose of the objective resolution? A. To finalize the borders of India. B. To define the aims and philosophy of the Constituent Assembly. C. To dissolve the Constituent Assembly. D. To declare war on Britain. Answer. B. Q 109. According to the objective resolution, India is to be an A. Dependent monarchy. B. Independent sovereign republic. C. Autonomous dominion. D. Oligarchic state. Answer. B. Q 110. The objective resolution stipulated that the territories forming the Union shall be A. Completely independent nations. B. Autonomous units with residuary powers. C. Governed entirely by the central government without any local power. D. Under British supervision. Answer. B. Q 111. According to the objective resolution, all power and authority of the sovereign independent India are derived from A. The British Crown. B. The United Nations. C. The people. D. The Constituent Assembly. Answer. C. Q 112. Which of the following guarantees was explicitly mentioned in the objective resolution? A. Guaranteed government jobs for all. B. Justice, social, economic, and political, and equality of status. C. Abolition of all taxes. D. Mandatory military service. Answer. B. Q 113. The objective resolution promised adequate safeguards for A. The elites and aristocracy. B. Minorities, backward and tribal areas, and depressed classes. C. Foreign investors. D. The military generals. Answer. B. Q 114. Based on the objective resolution, our Constitution gave institutional expression to fundamental commitments such as A. Monarchy and autocracy. B. Equality, liberty, democracy, and sovereignty. C. Theocracy and religious dominance. D. Feudalism and landlordism. Answer. B. Q 115. The principles encapsulated in the objective resolution eventually took the form of the constitutions. A. Schedules. B. Preamble. C. Appendices. D. Part 4, Directive Principles. Answer. B. Q 116. For how many days did the Constituent Assembly practically meet in session? A. 166 days. B. 299 days. C. 389 days. D. 2 years. Answer. A. Q 117. Over what total time span was the Constituent Assembly's work spread? A. Exactly 1 year. B. 2 years and 11 months. C. 4 years. D. 5 years and 2 months. Answer. B. Q 118. The sessions of the Constituent Assembly were A. Held in strict secrecy. B. Open to the press and the public. C. Open only to British officials. D. Conducted entirely via written correspondence. Answer. B. Q 119. The objective resolution declared that India would make a full and willing contribution to A. The expansion of the British Empire. B. The promotion of world peace and the welfare of mankind. C. The domination of South Asia. D. The arms race. Answer. B. Q 120. Assertion A. The objective resolution was a mere procedural formality. Reason R. It deeply influenced the ideological framework of the entire Constitution. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is false but R is true. D. Both A and R are false. Answer. C. Q 121. The framers of the Indian Constitution borrowed provisions from other countries because A. They lacked originality. B. They were forced by the British. C. They wanted to adopt the best available constitutional practices suited to Indian problems. D. They wanted to please foreign nations. Answer. C. Q 122. From which country's constitution did India borrow the first past the post electoral system? A. United States. B. France. C. British. D. Ireland. Answer. C. Q 123. The parliamentary form of government in India is heavily inspired by the A. US Constitution. B. British Constitution. C. French Constitution. D. Canadian Constitution. Answer. B. Q 124. The concept of the rule of law in the Indian Constitution is derived from A. Ireland. B. Canada. C. Britain. D. United States. Answer. C. Q 125. The institution of the Speaker and their role was adopted from the A. British Constitution. B. US Constitution. C. French Constitution. D. Irish Constitution. Answer. A. Q 126. The procedure for law making in India is largely borrowed from the A. Canadian Constitution. B. US Constitution. C. British Constitution. D. Irish Constitution. Answer. C. Q 127. The Charter of Fundamental Rights in the Indian Constitution is inspired by the A. British Constitution. B. US Constitution. C. Canadian Constitution. D. French Constitution. Answer. B. Q 128. The power of judicial review and the independence of the judiciary were borrowed from A. France. B. United States. C. Britain. D. Ireland. Answer. B. Q 129. The Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP, were borrowed from the Constitution of A. France. B. Ireland. C. Canada. D. United States. Answer. B. Q 130. The ideals of liberty, equality and fraternity, enshrined in the preamble are adopted from the A. French Constitution. B. US Constitution. C. Russian Constitution. D. British Constitution. Answer. A. Q 131. A. Quasi-federal form of government, a federal system with a strong central government, was borrowed from A. United States. B. Britain. C. Canada. D. France. Answer. C. Q 132. The idea of residual powers vesting in the central government is adopted from the A. Irish Constitution. B. US Constitution. C. Canadian Constitution. D. British Constitution. Answer. C. Q 133. Which of the following provisions was not borrowed from the British Constitution? A. First past the post. B. Rule of law. C. Judicial review. D. Parliamentary form of government. Answer. C. Q 134. Which of the following provisions was not borrowed from the US Constitution? A. Charter of Fundamental Rights. B. Independence of the judiciary. C. Directive Principles of State Policy. D. Judicial review. Answer. C. Q 135. Assertion A. Borrowing from other constitutions made the Indian Constitution a mere patchwork. Reason R. The makers critically evaluated every borrowed provision to ensure its suitability to Indian conditions. A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is false but R is true. D. Both A and R are false. Answer. C. Q 136. Which neighboring country of India is cited in Chapter 1 as an example of a nation struggling to establish a durable constitution through multiple iterations? A. Pakistan. B. Sri Lanka. C. Nepal. D. Bangladesh. Answer. C. Q 137. How many constitutions did Nepal have between 1948 and 2007 before its latest one? A. 2. B. 3. C. 5. D. 7. Answer. C. Q 138. What was the primary reason for the failure of the 1990 Constitution of Nepal? A. It was entirely unwritten. B. It did not transfer genuine power from the king to the elected representatives. C. It banned all political parties. D. It was drafted by India. Answer B. Q139. The Maoist political movement in Nepal demanded A. The restoration of absolute monarchy. B. A completely new constitution drafted by a popularly elected constituent assembly. C. The adoption of the Indian constitution. D. The abolition of the parliament only. Answer B. Q140. In which year did Nepal finally adopt its new, current constitution? A. 2007. B. 2010. C. 2015. D. 2020. Answer C. Q141. In Nepal's constitutional struggle, the seven-party alliance was primarily fighting for A. Military rule. B. Democratic transition and restriction of the king's powers. C. Economic isolation. D. Religious fundamentalism. Answer B. Q142. The concept of a constitution setting bounds on what one may or may not do is linked to creating A. Moral identity. B. Political economy. C. Legal fiction. D. Social vacuum. Answer A. Q143. If a constitution lacks a balanced institutional design, it is vulnerable to A. Subversion by a small group or single institution. B. Rapid economic growth. C. Overwhelming public support. D. International recognition. Answer A. Q144. In a parliamentary system borrowed from Britain, the executive is legally accountable to the A. Judiciary. B. Legislature. C. Military. D. Monarch. Answer B. Q145. What does the word secular broadly imply in the context of the Indian Constitution's identity? A. The state has an official religion. B. The state prohibits the practice of religion. C. The state respects all religions without elevating one as the official state religion. D. Only minority religions are protected. Answer C. Q146. The Constituent Assembly's decision to adopt universal adult franchise was remarkable given that A. India was a very wealthy country. B. Universal franchise was banned worldwide. C. India was vast, highly diverse, and largely illiterate at the time. D. The British strongly recommended it. Answer C. Q147. The drafting of the Constitution was driven by consensus. What does consensus mean in this context? A 51% majority vote. B. Complete unanimous agreement on every single detail. C. Reaching a broad agreement that is acceptable to a vast majority, avoiding deep divisions. D. Using executive orders to pass laws. Answer C. Q148. Which part of the Constitution legally enforces the limitations on government action? A. Part 1, the Union and its territory. B. Part 2, citizenship. C. Part 3, fundamental rights. D. Part 4A, fundamental duties. Answer C. Q149. Which part of the Constitution embodies the aspirations and goals of the society for a just socio-economic order? A. Fundamental rights. B. Directive principles of state policy. C. The Election Commission. D. The judiciary. Answer B. Q150. To say that the Indian Constitution is the supreme law of the land means A. It is the only law in the country. B. No government action or ordinary law can violate its basic structure and provisions. C. It can never be amended. D. It applies only to the Supreme Court. Answer B.